Hello again, my friends, and you are my friends, and welcome to your Wednesday's Talking Town. Feels like forever since I sat in this chair and talked Ipswich Town with you all, but we're here. It's live. It's 8 p.m. Please do get active in our live chat. But obviously, Sunderland at the weekend, live on Sky Sports. What are you thinking? What are you feeling? Charlie isn't overly confident. He says in the chat there, evening, Gov, maybe a controversial opinion, but I can't see us winning many games at all until we have a very good George Hurst replacement. James says, good evening, guys. Never a good time for Hurst to be out for what could be the season, but at least it happened during the January window. Imagine if it was February the 2nd. Great point there, James. Obviously, plenty of time left in the window for that replacement to come in to settle old Charlie's nerves. Anything you're thinking, feeling this evening, please do get active. Hit the like button, subscribe. If you want to become a Talking Town fifth stand, you can do so by hitting the join button or heading to Ko-Fi, $4.99. Cancel at any point, get access to the Discord 24/7, 365, ITFC chat, debate, opinion, all manner of different things. And of course, if you're watching on catch up, what does I always say? FTA comment for the algorithm. I'll run through a few comments. We've got Paddy from the Roker Report joining us as well to give us the Sunderland lowdown. A lot's changed at Sunderland since the last time we played them. Let's get the feeling on the ground there, as it were. David Elliston, it'll be a controversial opinion on here, but I'm afraid I feel likewise. Missing Hurst, and also Davis, I can see us huffing and puffing, but creating little six without a win, says David. Mike the Fishman, meanwhile, comes in and says, I think we all need to give our heads a wobble. He says, calm down, but I'm going to say, give our head a wobble. One player, don't make a team. We have resources. Let's use them and see how we do. Phil starting early with the FA Cup draw. Are you happy with it? Mystic Cruncher called it on Sunday. He did. He said he wanted Maidstone. He called it. He'll claim that, I'm sure. That'll counteract his Joe Pigott predictions. But yeah, are you happy with the FA Cup draw? Right, Matt and Rich are both with me. Welcome in. How are we doing?
Right.
Good evening, boys.
Good evening.
Right.
I couldn't let the
Right.
Mystic... Oh, here we go. Go on.
Question to start with for everyone in the chat. Martin is disqualified. So is Colin.
But I'm disqualified because I knew the answers.
You only knew one.
Well,
right.
One's better than none.
Well, I lost Matt and everyone in the chat. So Town drew Maidstone, which I did predict on the Sunday show.
Yep. Yeah. You also said Joe Pigott scored 25 goals, but
I did say Joe Pigott, 23 actually. And I've got a bone to pick with Phillips as well.
Ooh.
That he doesn't know the difference between a Pavlova and a Rouland.
No,
yes.
no, I did know the difference between a Pavlova and Roulard. I had to go with it because Colin thought it was a Pavlova. Dessert mix-ups.
Where's that credibility, Matt? Where's that credibility?
Yeah, you can't stop the flow, can you? I had to go with the Pavlova. It was clearly a Roulard. Clearly a Roulard. It was very tasty. Thank you, Felicia.
Right, back to the FA Cup. So we drew Maidstone and everyone's happy because we got a home draw and we've got a really good chance of getting into round 5, which, by the way, is a midweek, which I think is crap. Right. So, 2 players, Matthew and everyone in the chat, apart from Colin and Martin, played for Town and played for Maidstone.
I'm your phone a friend here, Matt.
Yeah, possibly.
Can you name both of them?
Is it Joe Pigott, one?
Joe Pigott is 1. So he made 51 appearances for the Stones, as they're called, guys, and scored 20 goals. And obviously 29 games for Town and 3 goals. So that is 1.
I could tell you the other.
Don't spoil it. He played
Can he?
in 2006-07 for Town on loan.
Yep.
19 games, 3 goals. And at Maidstone, he was 21 games, 1 goal, and he was also assistant manager at Maidstone as well.
If I said good night, John Boy, would I be close?
You would be very close. Anyone in the chat? Anyone in the chat, Martin?
Not as yet.
Well,
no.
there you go. He also played for Leeds. He played for Charlton. He played for a lot of teams this play. He was a midfielder as well.
Tough tackler. Got stuck in.
Yeah, I think he scored a penalty once. I'm not sure who it was against. He came as a part.
Sharon Guest.
There you go. Simon Walton.
Right
Simon Walton.
Well done, Sharon. Top work there. You've saved
Good player.
us.
Liked him.
Yeah, I like Simon Wharton as well. Thought he was a very good player.
Gov said he liked him better than Mark Noble, Matt.
Did you like him better than Endor?
No. 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 No.
Not a
I like Endor more than my own children. He was a great player. Absolutely loved Jaron Endor in midfield. We could do with an Endor in midfield, I feel. Yeah, even Morsey. Oh, what a team that would be. What a midfield combination that would be. You wouldn't have the freedom of Portman Road with them two about, would you? Let's be honest.
We'll get Big T back.
Oh, Tyreek.
Big T, I think he's gone on loan, hasn't he?
Has he? Where's he gone?
I think he's gone to Charlton.
The ledge.
Back to League One.
Well, he scored that worldie against Charlton, did he not? In that 4-0 last day of the season?
Yeah, you liked him, didn't you?
Big T. Big fan, Big fan of Big T. Yeah. Did the simple things well. You could pass to the blue shirt. Goes a long way in my book.
Did he?
He wasn't that great, was he? He wasn't that great, was he?
Look up the stats, mate.
Look up this. Oh, okay, I will. Why do you answer the question? So, obviously, 10th of January, we've had 2 signings already. A lot of conversation I wasn't even going to bring this up, but a lot of conversation in our live chat in regards to George Hurst. No replacement. The confidence is sort of wavering. Just taking a very quick test of the poll of the live chat there. Are you worried? I mean, obviously, you would have liked a replacement in by now, Matt, but are you with Charlie and co, where you can't see us winning without George Hurst?
No, well, we ain't going to win with Ladapo. Now, we've given Ladapo a lot of credit on this channel. Very poor performance against Wimbledon. I was very disappointed. Didn't even look, as I think Josh put in our Discord, didn't even look League 2 standard. It was very disappointing. Look how much more lively we looked when Broadhead went into that role. So you may well see that on Saturday. I can't see, after that display by Ladapo, I can't see McKenna playing him on Saturday. Whether or not he puts Jackson down the middle, I don't know. But he looks much more lively with Broadhead in there. Yeah, I mean, Hurst is such a big miss. I mean, we said it when he went off against Leicester. When they put up his goals, they put up his assists, and they put up his goals and assists in one game. He's like, how do you replace him? It's really difficult. But to get someone of quality in who can do that for you, you know, at short notice, it's quite difficult. We can only hope. But I don't know. Would have expected someone in by now?
We've got someone in from the Paul Wilkin from the Algarve.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I hope it's a bit warmer in the Algarve, Paul, than it is here, because it's bloody freezing. I'm sure
it is. It is absolutely. It is freezing. But it's 10th of January. But it was 2 weeks, obviously. 2 weeks and a day since George Hurst's injury, Rich. We all sort of had striker on our shopping list anyway. Are you surprised it's not done? Not the first piece of business?
Not really. It's like Colin says in the chat and Phil says in the chat.
Yeah, but Sunderland and Leicester, they matter. Their points are at stake. Like,
this is day 10. We've still got 21 days to go. Everyone just needs to just chill out and calm down. I'm sure Mark Ashton.
So the Christmas Eve shopping, is that what it's like? It's like, Christmas Day's coming.
Look, they've not let us down before. So I think they deserve to have the whole of January. And if we don't get anyone in by the end of January, then we can criticise them. But yeah, we've got 2 games coming up, but we've still got another 18 games after that in the league. So just because it's Sunderland and Leicester, they're big games, I get that. We should have enough about us in the squad. We can't just rely on George Hurst, getting injured. If he'd have got injured in September, what would we have done then? We'd have been knackered. We might as well have packed up the season if everyone's saying, we're not going to get any wins, until we sign anybody. It's a squad game. They're just going to have to figure out a way. It's good this week and like the whole of January. There's no midweek games, Matt. So we've got Saturdays. I know Leicester's on the Monday, but it gives them time on the training field. If they have to play a Broadhead there, to figure out another way of playing. And we might have to play a little bit different. We might have to play a little bit different who we sign. Because George Hurst, I think he's pretty unique, Martin, if I'm honest. I think he's one of them players who, it's like, I think Ben in the chat and I see a few people on socials, like Sinclair Armstrong. What are we basing him on? One performance early in the season. Oh, yeah, we'll sign him. A bit like me and Colin when we signed the Hadme.
Yeah.
We see him in one game and we thought he was brilliant. And then you sign him. They know, Ashton and co will know who they want. It might have changed a little bit because we needed a striker anyway. It might have changed a little bit, with Hurst's injury. Stansfield, I can't see him coming now. I think if that one was done, Matt, I think that would have been he'd have been recalled from Fulham. He played in the Cup on Saturday. I think, I know he put a post up on his Instagram the other day. It looked like he was waving. Nothing's happened, So
no,
and then we see the East Anglian this morning. I mean, it was every man and his dog they put in that list, isn't it? Really, I could have wrote that piece. I could have wrote that article. Come on,
you could have done.
That's not great journalism. A lot of them players on that list are players that we've said anyway. Get your ears to the ground. Come on, go and find who we're after. Ring up Mark Ashton. Mark, give us some names.
10 strikers they could target.
Well,
they like those pieces. 10 strikers,
not
strikers, 150 midfield players you could target in the summer. Like they do them quite regularly, to be fair. Carl Brooks, I feel like we were after a striker anyway, but maybe the striker was a different option to Hurst. Hurst's injury probably put a spanner in the works in terms of profile. Paul P, we need 2 strikers in now, and that's not going to be easy in January window. Teams know we need to buy, and prices are already higher. Obviously, Leif Davis also carrying an injury. Phil asks, any update on Davis? Obviously, that will probably come in tomorrow's press conference. If that, I mean, injuries are always a closely guarded secret at Portman Road. Is that the bigger injury, Matt, Leif Davis? Because he is a huge part of how we play, how we create, and how we operate in terms of our strength of attack. Missed him against Stoke.
Yep.
He was a calf strain at that point that they were managing, I believe, if I remember reading correctly. We don't know if he's good to go, but is that a bigger miss?
It's a very big miss. I mean, look, you've got the work rate of Hurst has gone, and the goal threat and assists he gives us, and Leif has been an assist machine for us, on par to get to break records. So yeah, he's a really big miss. I mean, listen, Brandon Williams can play in that position. He plays in that position for Manchester United. So whether or not he's going to be involved, I don't know. I mean, why they put Harry Clark over on that side instead of Williams, I don't know.
Because he's not fit. Because he ain't fit, Matt. He ain't been fit for weeks.
Very odd. Well, if he's not fit, then send him back and get another loan in. Because bloody good to us if you're not fit, right?
Well, he's either injured, he's been ill multiple times, he's got other issues going on. We spoke about it Sunday, didn't we, Martin? I think he's a really good player, Matt. And we spoke about when, I think it was like two or 3 months ago. You remember the Preston game and that run of games he had there? He looked like a Premier League footballer. Really good. And you thought, wow, really this player, he's a massive upgrade on Harry Clark. Harry Clark won't get back into the team, everybody said. And he's fallen off a cliff. He's formed. So we just got to wait and see with him.
There's no point having loan players in the building if they're not going to be playing games. You let him go and you get somebody else in who's going to have the impact. We now need impact. Once the injuries, we've seen 2 injuries, Leif Davis and George Hurst, impact players. We can't afford anyone else to be falling by the wayside. So either he's going to play or he goes back and you get somebody else in, because, we're still second. We're still in a great position to be promoted. We need all hands to the pump, in my opinion.
My opinion on Brandon, before I bring in Patrick from Roker Report, is it depends how long they feel the lack of fitness is going to be the issue. In where I agree with you or not. If they feel it's a short term, they can get him back fairly quickly, then obviously you don't send him back to Man United. If however, you are in the world where it could be a month and a half before he's fully backing up and running for whatever reason, then yeah, I'm with you. It's you've got to trust the medical team. They're not let us down at any point.
You see it Stoke, Matt, when you're playing Axel at right back and Clark's shifting over to left back. Brandon Williams was actually on the bench that game. Yeah. So, look, it's like I said before, it probably helps that we haven't got any midweek games, so they can probably get him up to speed. I would be surprised if he went back, but he does need to sort of show that why we've signed him on loan. Show that form that you did early in the season. Then we've got a player on our hands. You know you have, and even more so now when you've got injuries and Davis is out and you're playing Cameron Humphreys over there. Who's a young player, and I know Matt really rates him, but he's still learning that position.
He's not left back either, really, is he?
No, he's not. So, yeah.
Okay. You mentioned we were second. We are still second, but we could be third by the time we kick off to take on Sunderland Saturday evening. Joining us from the Sunderland perspective is Patrick. Patrick, welcome in. How you doing?
Not too bad, lads. How we doing?
How we doing, Patrick?
I'm doing really well.
Yeah, all good. Can't complain.
For joining us. A lot's changed at Sunderland since the last time we had Ant from the Roker Report on. Talk us through it.
How long have you got? Because
as long as you need, my man.
It feels completely different. Obviously, when we played you guys first day of the season. I mean, obviously, the last couple of weeks have been pretty chaotic, to be honest. Obviously, Tony Mowbray went, which was a weird one because I think a lot of us were like, sort of, we didn't expect him to go, but it was almost like if he got the sack, a lot of us would go. You can kind of see why. But when we did it, I mean, I think we announced it at like 10 o'clock on a Monday. I think we had a game on the Saturday, and then we got rid of him on the Monday night. So that was a bit okay. And obviously we had all the sort of dilemma of who's going to be the manager. At one point it looked like it was going to be Will Still. I don't know how close it got, but it felt like that got quite close. Probably not. It was probably just sort of speculation, really, in the end. Then obviously we've ended up with Michael Beale, who, got to be honest, I think I don't think I've ever seen so much criticism towards a managerial appointment. Not just at Sunderland, but in any club. I mean, the backlash. I mean, I remember when it was sort of like, and about 2 days before, when you get to the point where the articles and the journalists are saying this is pretty much a done deal, and honestly, there was absolute chaos. Like the amount of people just saying, "Nah, don't want him." It's like it's not even official yet, but and then it feels like I think he's had 5 games in charge now, and I mean I like to think I'm a bit more of an optimist. I mean, I've not been blown away by what I've seen, but we do look a lot more solid than we did under Tony Mowbray. And I was a big fan of Mowbray. He got us playing some good football, but towards the end, defensively, we were terrible. But it just seemed like it hasn't happened in all the games. But I mean, we went to Hull, we got a 1-0 win there after getting thumped off Coventry. We went there Boxing Day, and we're all sort of thinking it's a tough place to go. We've just been thumped. We've got a new manager. We're not getting like the new manager bounce, so to speak. But yeah, I mean, if it's never dull supporting Sunderland, and the last few weeks have been exactly that, to be honest.
One of our viewers says Bill did a cracking job at QPR, which he did do.
Yeah. Well, see the argument I always make is, I remember when the appointment was coming, we had a lot of QPR fans and a lot of Rangers fans sort of saying, giving their kind of 2 pence. And my argument was that, Beale came to Sunderland not as a manager, but as a head coach. And obviously under the way we're structured now, the head coach doesn't have any say in transfers, which, it's tricky because obviously under Mowbray and then obviously Alex Neil before him, they came in and they kind of went, oh yeah, we know how it works here. And then, but it kind of seems like the patience sort of wears out after a while, because Neil started saying things about like, I'm not, it always kind of boils down to the coaches kind of have a bit of a pop at the recruitment. And it's like the recruitment's been overall pretty good over the last sort of year and a half. I mean, we've brought in a lot of very good, promising players for not much money. And, obviously we're looking to, I mean, in the next sort of 6 months, we're kind of fully expecting to see the likes of Jack Clark and Dan Neil be sold for quite a lot of money. But that's the model we're going for. And, we haven't had to do that yet. We haven't reached the point where one of our top players goes for a lot of money. And it kind of feels like, maybe even this month that might be something what we have to face. But yeah, I mean, we've got Beale in as a head coach, and he's got good coaching credentials. I mean, Emi Martinez, he was a big fan of his, World Cup winner. A lot of people said that things started to go south at Villa for Gerrard after Beale left, and a lot of people said Beale, was actually quite a big figure in the dressing room at Villa as well.
I've heard that as well.
Exactly. I mean, that's the sort of the viewpoint I've taken on him. I didn't agree with this whole writing him off as soon as before he's even come in. I mean, you might think it's a bit underwhelming, but he's got a good track record as a coach, and we have a group of players who need that at the minute. And just sort of we've got 20 games left, and it's sort of just seeing how it goes, really.
It's quite a European model. It's quite a European model, that, isn't it, Patrick? To have a recruitment team above the coach. You see that in the Bundesliga. You see it in the Dutch league. You have to be quite a progressive manager to be able to kind of accept that and not have the ego to say, "Well, I want to sign the players I want to sign."
Yeah, that's the thing, and I think, I mean, I'm not for 1 minute suggesting that Tony Mowbray's got a big ego, because he's one of the most down to earth blokes I've ever seen in football. But it got the point where, specifically with the strikers, he'd say every now and again that, for example, we've got 4 centre forwards at the club, who we all signed in the summer, and for a lot of the games towards the end of Mowbray's tenure, none of them were starting. We were starting with either Job or Alex Pritchard, or every now and again we're playing Clark as the sort of false nine. We weren't starting any of the strikers, and kind of, that's when all the speculation comes. It's like, well, is it a case of the players aren't good enough, or is it a case of, like, is Mowbray making a point of saying that, I wanted more experience in centre forwards? And obviously I was listening to your chat there about Hurst, and obviously the Ipswich, the issues of trying to get a striker in. I mean, signing a striker who's good is difficult at the best of times, but January's got to be the worst time to try and get a decent centre forward, because if he's at a club and scoring, you're gonna have to pay a lot of money to get him away. And if they aren't scoring at another club, then it's like you're sort of going, well, why do we want you, sort of thing. So
was that part of why Mowbray went? Because I think did he criticise a little bit? He wanted an experienced striker, because you obviously had Ross Stewart, didn't you? And you obviously, I know he's injured, but you sold him to Southampton. You haven't really replaced him, have you?
No, I mean, it's interesting, because I mean, Stewart he's one of the best all-round centre forwards I've ever seen. Well, he didn't really get a chance in the Championship, but I think he played like 10 games in the Championship and scored 12 goals. So it's like, when he played, the very small amount of time we saw him in the Championship, he was brilliant. And obviously, in an ideal world, we'd go out and replace him. But the truth is, it's hard to replace someone like like Ross Stewart, really. And yeah, I mean, the thing is that we haven't replaced them. We brought in strikers in the summer. Kind of the biggest one was probably Nazari Rusin, who signed from Ukraine. I think we spent a couple of million on him, and again, it took Mowbray a while to give him a run of games, and now, I mean, he scored his first goal on New Year's Day, and it was the first goal scored by a Sunderland striker, which, I mean, if we didn't have Jack Clark, I dread to think it would be somewhere in the middle of the lower half, I think, to be honest, if it wasn't for Jack Clark.
His quality, he's a really. I've spoke about him, about, like, if we got promoted, Patrick, to the Premier League, like, I see West Ham are linked. How much you reckon? 20 million for him?
Well, I think, to be honest, now I think we'd be looking at even more than that, because I know last summer, obviously there was a lot of talk about Burnley, and then there was Brentford mentioned as well. And Mowbray basically said that we wouldn't entertain any offers of under 20 million. But obviously now, sort of, 6 months into this season, I think he's got 12 goals and a couple of assists. I mean, really, we're in quite a good position, because, we don't need to sell. We're not financially hard up. We're being run fairly well, as on the footballing side of things. And, if teams do come in, I think it is going to have to be at the bare minimum 25 million to even make us open up talks, to be honest. But I mean, that's how it should be. I mean, we shouldn't have to just sell as soon as a big offer comes in. He's also one of the most key things. Whether you think contracts still have any weight, kind of, in the modern game, but he has still got about 2.5 years on his contract, which, I think, given the fact that I think he's brilliant, but I do think that he'll leave Sunderland by the start of next season. He'll not be a Sunderland player. I think the only chance we might keep him is if we get promoted. Other than that, I think he's away, to be honest. But it's just the nature of the game, really.
Yeah, we've all been there with players, are destined for bigger things. You mentioned it's been 5 games for the new manager. What's the style of play now like? What can we expect from Sunderland for Saturday, and how they approach the game?
Well, to be honest, in terms of going forward, I've not really noticed too much of a difference to Mowbray. It was very much a, we kind of have like a 3. sort of like we have sitting midfielders and we have kind of the three forwards. And the last few games, obviously, we've played Roos as the striker, essentially, and obviously Clark out on the left. So, yeah, I mean, we do try and get a lot of the ball to Clark. I mean, I think that sort of goes without saying, really. We'd normally have Patrick Roberts down the right hand side, but he's out injured for, well, I think it could be up to a month, which is annoying. But he's one of these where he's quite good to watch, but in terms of his actual output, he's not done much at all this season. I mean, he's annoying because he could go and beat 3 or 4 players and then put like a pretty mediocre ball at the box and then nothing comes of it. But he does the hard part where he gets in the good positions and then he just, the end product just hasn't been there this season. I think defensively, like I said before, we are looking a bit stronger. I mean, the back line, I'd imagine it'll be 09 and Ballard at centre half, because that's been basically our centre half pairing all season, apart from we had one game when they were both suspended, which was interesting. But yeah, it'll be them two. They put on a pretty good partnership. 09's a funny one because we're sort of stuck in this debate of like, well, he's not really a centre back, but I think our last 3 managers have played him as a centre back, so it's like they probably know more than we do. What I mean? And he isn't your traditional centre half. He likes to carry the ball forward and carry the ball out, which, when it works, it's great. When it goes wrong, it looks horrendous and you look like a bit of an idiot. But yeah, I mean, I think I can see us going back to that. I think, we do like to try and play the ball out from the back a lot. And we tried it against Newcastle. Didn't work, and it went horrendously bad. But no, that's Newcastle. That's just a different ballpark, really. So yeah, I think we'll be.
They won the FA Cup that day, Patrick, didn't they? With all them celebrations.
You think so? Yeah, you think so, judging off going off the way they celebrated. But no, I mean, it's just a different sort of ballpark, really. But yeah, I mean, we like to, we do like to pass it around a lot. We have played some good football this season, and there's only been the odd game where we've kind of completely switched things up. When we had Leeds at home, we played 5 at the back, and it was one of the only home games this season where the opposition had more of the ball than us. And for the last 20 minutes, for the last sort of 15, 20 minutes, it was backs against the wall. I mean, Leeds had they had 4 strikers on the pitch. And, that was like probably our best sort of defensive display of the season, really. So yeah, I think it'll be a bit more the same, really, from the league. I don't think we'll sit back. Because, we've kind of had this pretty fearless approach in the league. And it's kind of a case of like, if it works, great. If it doesn't, we'll try it next time round, really.
Sounds like us, really.
If you go back to August, Patrick, when you play, were you surprised we beat you at the Stadium of Light? What was you expecting from Ipswich that day?
Well, to be honest, I remember like all the build-up in pre-season was saying, a lot of pundits were saying we fancy Ipswich to, top six or better.
Yeah.
And I was thinking like, well, on paper, thought, there's some good players there. So there's some players who will make an impact on the championship. But I mean, the way I say it, I just think for me, McKenna, he's one of the best coaches probably in England at the minute. I mean, I think, I think that Ipswich team, there's a lot of hard workers in there. There's not many who sort of leap up off the page and, he's like, going to be ripping up the Premier League one day. But there's a lot of hard working players there. And I think, I mean, as soon as I saw Broadhead was starting, it's like, well, I know what's going to happen here because, former players love to score against us. So that was no surprise when he did get his goal. It was nice to see him not celebrate too much because I'm not really bothered by that, but it's always quite nice when, when players, it was quite low key. I think I remember.
Did you like him there? Did you like him at Sunderland?
Yeah. The problem is he was one of these where he was, for us in League One at that point, he was far too good for League One. Like it was brilliant to get on loan, but obviously his injury record was just. I don't know what we do to players, but the amount of players we've had long-term injuries with. I mean,
Yeah.
I think Broadhead, he was on loan for a season. I think he got two injuries where he missed at least 10 games. But when he played, I mean, the times when we had him and Ross Stewart like up front together, I mean,
Really good.
I've often said that if we had them two fully fit all season, that season we came up in the playoffs, I think we'd have been top 2 because Broadhead was unreal.
Yeah.
He's a phenomenally good player. Have you changed formation before I come on to the viewers' questions?
Well, it's interesting because we have slightly, purely because obviously when we played you guys first game of the season, it was we started Hamir. He started as our one centre forward. I think that was actually his only start for us. He's sort of been basically packaged up to kind of go out on loan and maybe seen as like a player who's not quite ready yet. Yeah, I think we've mixed it up a little bit. We tend to play a bit more of like a 3 forwards, with the kind of the wingers kind of not really playing as wingers, but as like sort of left and right forwards, sort of. And then defensively, I mean, we've tried 5 at the back in recent games. I'd be surprised if we did go 5 at the back on Saturday. But I mean, that would be the only significant change really if we were to do that. The midfield pairing, pretty much you can say now, will probably be Ekwar and Neil, and then hopefully Alex Pritchard starts because he's been given a run of starts and he's been brilliant. To be honest, he got a couple of assists off the bench against West Brom. He started against Leeds and he was
on
brilliant.
His way out. He was on his way out under Mowbray, wasn't he, Patrick?
He was, because we signed Bradley Dack.
Is he injured?
He is, Dack? Yeah. But I mean, he's very, very much. Dack was a weird one because you could see it was a case of it was almost like Mowbray getting rewarded for a good season. So the recruitment's gone, okay, you can like have a say in a player. And I mean, when he first came in, I mean, he scored against Southampton, and his movement was like, oh no, it's like it was a case of like when he gets fully fit, he'll be great. But he kind of got reduced to coming off the bench here and there. And there was one game where I was actually at it away at Stoke, and he came on, and it was just, you could see his fitness levels were just dreadful. He came on, and it's like he's just a waste of a sub, really. So yeah, Dak, don't really know the extent of, because he went off injured over the sort of Christmas period, but yeah, I don't think we'll see him again for a couple of weeks. And there's actually been some rumours going around that he's on his way out, which, I mean, if it was a case of him or Pritchard, I mean, I'm taking Pritchard 99 times out of 100, to be honest.
Yeah.
Fair enough. In terms of Ekwar, Mike D says, can we have Ekwar? How much?
well, you can't have him just yet. Just put it like that. No, Ekwar, he's a good player. He got injured in about September, and he came back, and when a player never quite comes back the same, and he looked very like he didn't have he just looked leggy. He looked like he wasn't really running well, and he just on the ball he used to be very composed, but he was giving the ball away loads really when he first came back. That has improved. The last couple of games, I mean, he had a bit of a nightmare against Newcastle where he just I don't know if he didn't get the shouts or if he thought he was going to be able to turn away from 2 of their players. He wasn't helped out by the pass, but I mean that was just a mess from start to finish really. But no, I think he's definitely getting there. He's one of these where we've poached him away from West Ham for not much money at all. And again, there's been a few Premier League clubs have been in for him. So there's a good player there. I mean, he only made his senior debut for us about a year ago. He never played any senior football for West Ham. And in that year, I mean, he's come on a lot really. He's just not having a great time of it at the minute, but it happens. All players go through these spells where it's like,
particularly after injuries, Patrick.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, he's been getting back in the league. He's been getting back up to speed. I mean, down at Hull, I think he's probably our best player, to be honest. He a bit more back to his old self, which was good because we've got, as well as yourselves, we've got a pretty tough month coming up, so it's good to have him
I've
back up
always
there.
liked him. I've always liked him into the midfield. We've got some questions here. I'll run through them quite quickly. James says, "Do you think Sunderland will get top 6?"
I think it all depends on the January window. I think we're probably 2 or 3 players away from being able to get top 6. I do think we need another striker with a bit more experience behind him. And yeah, I think that's probably the main one, really. And then maybe a bit more depth in midfield. But yeah, I think a couple of additions. I think we can get top 6.
Charlie says, "Are Sunderland quick at counter-attacks or possession-based?"
Or possession. Yeah.
Possession.
We're actually annoyingly slow going forward sometimes. But yeah, we like to get a lot of the ball. But there's been times this season where I think best example was down at Swansea, drew 0-0, had like 70% of the ball and about 4 shots on goal. And you're watching that and it's like we were just camped in the Swansea half, but we just couldn't do anything with it. And that was
like us against Stoke.
Yeah, but that did happen a lot under Mowbray as well. Like we played good football, like we get the ball out, we get into positions, but just no end product really. So
who would you, if you could cherry pick one player from the Town team, Patrick, to be in the Sunderland side, who would you go for?
I mean, it's hard to look past Broadhead, and it's annoying because obviously I know what he can do, but I mean I wanted him when we got promoted, and obviously I know the chance was there, but I think the impression I got was that we had a couple of strikers and Broadhead essentially thought that he was going to get more chances elsewhere. Then I think that's when he went to Wigan. Obviously ended up at Ipswich. But no, I mean I'd take Broadhead back in a heartbeat. To be honest, I think he'll fit into our team very well at the minute. And even if we didn't have space for him, I think we'd get him in really because I think he's class, to be honest.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah.
Before I come to the last question, score prediction for Saturday, Patrick?
I'm going to go 1-1. I think we're a lot more, like I said, we're a lot more secure. We look a bit more safe under Beale, especially in our away games. We look like we're hard to score against, which is obviously good, especially at a time when it feels like we're not quite scoring as freely as we were earlier in the season. And yeah, I think a point will be a great result, to be honest. At what's obviously a tough place to go. I mean, watch you guys against Leicester, and I thought that was a good game. You could see why you two were top 2 because the intensity from them two were just great. Really, I'm looking at them thinking like, yeah, if we can compete with them, that would be fantastic. To be honest.
Great place to be as a Town fan when you're hearing that from an opposition fan. The last question is from Ben Hobbs. It says, "I'm a Newcastle-based Town fan. Patrick, talk us through the shambles of last week, the bar designs and criticisms."
I was going to ask you that.
The display.
Again, how long have we got? No, I mean it was just. I've said a few times that it was more embarrassing. The stuff that happened off the pitch was far more embarrassing than the actual match itself. The way that we kind of the clubs just sort of rolled out the red carpet for our fiercest rivals. I mean, it's the equivalent of you guys doing that when Norwich are in town, and I can imagine,
Exactly.
And it was the fact that obviously it took for the pictures to get leaked, and then obviously we had a statement from the club. The owner put a statement on Instagram. And then it got to the point where it's like, just want to get the game over with now. It killed a lot of the kind of excitement I had for the game, because I was going into it thinking, well, there's not really any pressure on us because we're sort of top 6 in the Championship. They've been in the Champions League. They're probably going to get a top 8 finish this season. But no, I mean it was just embarrassing really, and it's annoying how you'd almost rather it be something on the pitch, because then it's like you can just sort of pick yourself up and move on. But when it's your own club doing that to their own fans, it's like come on. Like I don't know how there hasn't been enough people in the hierarchy have gone, right, do you realise how bad this will look like if and when it gets out? the fact that there wasn't enough people going like, we need to knock this on the head now, was worrying. So I'm hoping, I'd like to see some changes off the pitch as well as on the pitch in January, I think.
Yeah, it was pretty.
Someone signed it off. Someone signed it off, Patrick. Who might do that one?
Who?
I tell you what, I think he or she, whoever it is, they're probably making themselves very quiet now because hopefully they realise what an absolute mess.
Maybe they'll be on Netflix, Matt.
Hopefully.
Part 3.
No, well, we are getting part 3, but luckily
is that just a two-part one?
Yeah, I don't know for definite, but yeah, there's been a lot of talk about it, and essentially it's going to be like a 2-parter from our promotion from League One. So at least it'll be a nice way to
great viewing. If anyone's not seen the first 2 series, Sun Until I Die.
The first one was the best. That was brilliant. Chris Coleman.
The scene with Coleman in the car park is just like you can't write that. Honestly, you can't write that stuff. It's like this is happening like outside of my club's football ground. Like, what have we come to?
What was the guy with the red trousers called? Charlie.
Oh, Charlie Methven.
Oh yeah, has him.
They wanted to change the music, didn't they, to the stadium? Brilliant, that was.
They did. Well, it's like they did, and then as soon as he went out, they were like, "Yeah, let's get rid of that," because I think it just reminded us of all the years in League One, to be honest. And it's like, no, I don't want that again.
Great, thanks. Patrick, enjoy the rest of the week. Enjoy Saturday and Sunday, but not Saturday evening. All right.
Are you coming to the game, Patrick?
No, I'm not, unfortunately. I'm working, but I should be able to catch it on TV. So yeah, I'll be able to.
Perfect. Well, enjoy it, but not too much. Thanks for appearing, Patrick. Really appreciate it.
No worries. Cheers, lads.
All the best. All the best.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Great insight from Patrick there.
Proper club Sunderland. Another proper club like us. Proper club Sunderland.
There was something going on there, Matt. I like Sunderland. Never a dull moment.
No. Bit of a soap opera, isn't it?
Yeah.
I see a load of questions in the chat. So asking if Marcus Stewart's going to be at the game. I've just messaged his wife. He's not going to be there. But I don't know if anybody see him. He was on BBC Breakfast in the week. Did you see it, Matt? No.
So
he was on with Stephen Darby, right? And they were at Anfield. And they've got a march. If anyone's interested, wants to get involved. March of the Day is called, from Friday the 22nd till Sunday the 24th. They're doing all the northern grounds. So they're starting at Bradford, where Stephen Darby played, and they're ending at Anfield on the Sunday.
Brilliant.
So if anyone's interested, it's on the Derby Rimmer on the website. If anyone wants any links, I've got them. If you can get involved, I think they're doing a smaller one in Bristol in July. And I did message his wife if they're going to do any in like the southeast, and they might do if there's interest. So yeah, get on that. He's on Live to Pitch tomorrow night, Marcus Stewart. So
tremendous.
Check it
Tune
out.
in. Fantastic.
On Live to Pitch tomorrow night, but not at the game Saturday, just to confirm that. Okay, with yourself. All right. So heard from Patrick. We know about our own injury record. We know about how we've had it so far this season. How do we see it going Saturday evening, Mr. Moss?
I think it'd be a really good game. Look, Jack Clark's one of my favourite players in the league. I think he's probably obviously the one that we have to keep an eye on. I didn't know Patrick Roberts was injured, but I totally agree with him. And I think Matt Stannard said that earlier in the season. He's one of them players, Matt. He does a lot with the ball, but there's no sort of end product.
Yeah.
And they're probably a little bit like us. So I think I said on Sunday, Martin, I quickly touched on it about they've probably not got a number 9 like us. So it might be whoever plays that role best might come out on top. Because I think it'll be quite tight. I think it'll be quite a tight game, but I think it's a game with Leicester coming up and with the run that we've been on. I think we really do need to get back and get 3 points and just settle everyone down a little bit. Because you see in the chat, people are getting a little bit sort of worried, and where's the strikers coming from? And if we don't win this game, we're not going to beat Leicester, and then we're not going to get in the top 2. Listen, just calm down and just enjoy where we are.
Yeah,
just enjoy where we are, because we all know this time last year we were going through a similar run, Matt, in League One, and you were wanting the manager out.
There it is.
There it is.
There's that bus coming by.
It wasn't enough to eat humble pie live on the show.
No.
But it's true. I did say that. It was very frustrating. I agree with you. I think it will be a tough game. The fact that we couldn't kind of break that Stoke team down brings alarm bells to me a little bit, I suppose. Not panic or anything, but I think we will see Broadhead in that role. I think we will, and we will need him to step up. We will need, your Harnesses or a Chaplin, or a Wes Burns to come to the forefront. Will Lewis Travis play? Will he make his debut in that game? Morsey ain't going to play. I would imagine he probably will.
Yeah,
I think it's probably I think you're probably right, and I would imagine Luongo will be captain. I think it'll be a tough game, absolutely, especially without that kind of recognised goal scorer in the middle there. Absolutely.
Had we known that you clearly don't know your desserts, Pavlova,
don't keep repeating the false information.
None of us would have
listened
to what he said about McKenna at the time. Had we known this is what your opinion on desserts were.
It was a very nice dessert, by the way. It was very nice.
What, the Pavlova or the roulade?
The roulade. It was a very lovely day.
Just to confirm, you knew what you had, right?
When you finally arrived.
Well, I've got odd that. Very odd, because Colin's address came up.
You've got to look out around there as well. A lot of flooding as well, Matt. You could have
run into problems. I went through a little bit of flooding, but I've got the Waze on now. I've got the Waze now. After your endorsement, I got home okay, by the way. I mean, I've sailed home, but getting there was complicated for whatever reason. I don't know.
So back 4 on Saturday. What are we saying? Because there's no Burgess. He's away on international duty. We've mentioned Brandon Williams' fitness earlier on in the show. Axel's been playing at right back. Do you go Clark?
It's all up in the air, isn't it? It's all up in the air.
What are you saying? Talk me through it.
Well, I think until we sort of know what the injury sort of situation is, obviously with Davis, Matt, Harry Clark as well. He's obviously his Achilles is sort of.
Well, he's been managing the Achilles. That's a bit different, isn't it?
It's been a niggle all season. It's been a niggle all season.
Will be. So based on if they're fit, let's go. Davis is fit. He's clear to play, and he's fit. So obviously, if he's clear to play, he plays regardless. Even if it's 80%, you'd play Davis. I'd argue 80%.
Not 80%. No, we can't take any risks with him. We need him 100% fit, because I think he's so important. You don't want him breaking down. 80% with his calf. No, I want.
You think he might make it? Are you thinking he might make it worse?
Yeah, possibly. I want him 100% fit, flying up and down that wing, because he's so pivotal, isn't he? How he plays. He's literally.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah.
I'd love to know his stats, Martin, how far he runs during a game, because he is literally up and down that line, isn't he?
Oh, hell of a game.
So
certainly at home he is. Yeah.
And he's a massive. If we don't have him, you think you got a massive player there. Your Morsey's out. Your Hurst is out. This is where the squad comes in, and this is where we've probably been lucky so far through the first half of the season. We've not really had these injuries, and it's a case of, I think if we have a full 11 fit, I think we're more than a match for anybody. It's when you've seen these last few games when we've had players sort of out through illness, suspension, injury. This is when the squad's not quite good enough, is it? I think that's fair.
It's not too good enough.
No, that's a fair assessment to say it's not quite.
I'd agree.
Enough, but they've brought us so far, haven't they? And we don't like to criticise, but sometimes you just have to be honest and say certain players are they're not quite up to the mark. But I think Harry Clark will probably play
if he's fit. Who's your 2 centre halves, fellas?
I think Clark plays left back if Davis doesn't play. I'm not playing the Humphreys there, because I think it's not really his position, like you said, Matt. And
Clark is better right side, though, isn't he? Clark is better right on the right side. That's his natural side, right?
But I think you're just going to have to go with, if Davis isn't fit, would you play Humphreys there? Would you trust him in quite a big game there?
I would. I personally would, because I think he's a really good player. But I would play Edmondson most likely on the left hand side. I think he hasn't put a foot wrong yet, has he?
So you'd go Fridge and Wolfie.
Yeah.
Rich, I'm playing Fridge and Wolfie, and I'm playing Axel at right back, because against
he's looked really good.
Jack Clark's their best player, so Axel's really good defensively, and you will lose a little bit going forward, guys, if he plays there. I think, because he's not naturally attacking. It's a bit like a Donati in there, isn't it? It's just he's a good defender, but I'm happy to lose. I'm happy to lose a little bit there against Jack Clark, because I think he's there.
You don't Clark v Clark. No Clark v Clark.
Well, if we have to, but it all depends on Leif Davis, doesn't it? He's the key.
Yes,
he's the key just defensively, and obviously going forward attacking. And I think if obviously I don't think we're going to sign a striker, but I think if you have a Davis fit, I think he puts them balls across. So I think you've lost that attacking threat with him, haven't you, at the left back? Because look, Cameron Humphrey's done quite well, I think, in the game against QPR, Matt. Second half, especially, he done quite well on.
Not the same. He's not. I agree.
No, he's not.
The same.
No, he's not the same. No. But you see, Davis gets half a yard, pings it in, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He whips them balls in, and then whoever's. I think your centre forward's going to be probably Broadhead. I would have thought as well, and he might not have thought.
I don't think the defensive options is other than you lose the Leaf attacking threat. I don't think that's the problem. The problem is who's going to play in that middle role. Because look, Chaplin could play there. We can't trust Ladapo anymore, sadly. We've given him loads.
I don't think McKenna sees it that way, and I don't think McKenna is going to be as quick to lose faith in a Ladapo or Jackson.
What did Ladapo do against the League Two team on Saturday to make you think he would start against Sunderland? He's done nothing.
It's not about whether I would start. I look at the situation and I don't see McKenna losing faith in either of these two strikers in the same way many fans are sort of almost seemingly losing faith.
Down to his superior knowledge then, but I certainly wouldn't. I don't mean you can trust Ladapo to put the shift in anymore.
I might be wrong. We might have a Saturday night and it is Broadhead up front. But
I don't know if you saw it, Rich, in the stadium. The ball that was going to go, Ladapo thought it was going to go for a throw, didn't bother running. They kept it in. Just little moments like that.
I think you've had a little taster, didn't you, at Stoke, where he put Broadhead up the middle, and then obviously on Saturday, I think it was
again.
Just under the hour mark when Ladapo went off, and then you had probably another 25 minutes. So he's trying it out, and I think you play Broadhead. If I'm picking the team, I'm playing Broadhead there, and probably who are you going to play on the left? Did you play old Jeremy? Does Jeremy make his debut? Or I'd probably go with Harness, if I'm honest, in that role on the left.
And Sarmiento off the bench.
Yeah, I think so.
Look, I'd love nothing more to see Ladapo come on and score like he did against Charlton. And, the brace he got against Cardiff, where he was just read the game and he was there, but you're just not seeing it consistently enough. And I just feel like against a League Two team, where you've got an opportunity to show what you can do, he just didn't take it. He just didn't take it. And that's not the kind of player I really want in the, when we sit in second and we're now on the other side of the mountain, going downhill towards the Premier League, in which we've still got a great opportunity.
If you're asking me, I probably do start. I personally, I would probably start Broadhead up front, play Sarmiento from the start out wide on the left, see what we've got in that. But if you're asking me I am asking myself, I guess. I'm asking myself what I think McKenna would do. And I think he would play, he will start Caden Jackson up front centrally with a Broadhead out wide on the left. And then I think during the game, there's when you'll see a Broadhead move more central. When
we've got more options now. At the QPR game, you just had to look at that bench and it was like four centre-halves, a goalie, a fullback.
Big Gerrard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he's another one. You might have to use him. He obviously came on now.
What about Chaplin in the middle? What about Chaplin? No one ever mentions Chaplin in the middle. I'm sure he played up there with Barnes.
Chaplin's the 10. I don't want to keep. I think Broadhead you can move in here, and you've got players to go out wide. Chaplin, have we really got a replacement for him?
No,
well, no, because Jack Taylor's the understudy. Or Hutchinson, you could play Amari behind a Chaplin.
I don't agree with Harps there. I don't see Jack Taylor playing.
He's saying Taylor. So we were having this discussion after Wimbledon, weren't we? Does Taylor impact enough of the game? I feel like he doesn't. That's not to say he's a bad player. I don't think he's a bad player at all. I think he's very good. He's got a fantastic shot on him. But we seem to lose something when either Massimo or Morsey isn't playing in that game. When Taylor's in there, he doesn't seem to be able to have enough impact on the game. And I know he scored against Wimbledon and it was a great run, great finish. Delighted for him. But over 90 minutes, I feel like he just doesn't have that same impact.
Different role though, Matt. Like I said on Sunday, he's not played that role where you play with 2 6s at Peterborough. He's getting further forward, isn't he? And
then we'd have to change the formation, wouldn't we? Yeah, for him to play further forward, you just have that one defensive midfielder, which is always going to be Morsey, right? So you're thinking more of almost like a diamond then, aren't you? In that midfield, which McKenna's never going to do. To have someone sitting further forward.
No,
I don't agree with Charlie. He's very negative. What?
Charlie's feeling the nerves a little bit tonight.
Charlie, chill out, mate. Chill out.
We're massively punching above our weight here. Just I
don't agree with that because that suggests luckiness. We've not been lucky. We're just competing.
We're competing with 3 teams who come down with massive riches.
This is true.
Massive squads.
is true.
Well,
massive squads and players.
one of
that
them
can't even
signing
get
a
in on their
Milan
wages.
player for like 21.
Leicester.
Leicester.
Who did they
There you
sign?
go. Some guy from Inter. About
Yeah, for 21.
signing.
Yeah.
And here we are wondering whether or not we'll beat 4.5 million transfer
Yeah.
record.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, there you go.
20
What I was
years
gonna say
back.
in regards to Taylor is obviously I'm a big Taylor fan.
Of course,
And
good player.
a transfer can come together for so many different reasons, but the perception is sometimes all you've got to go on as a football fan. The perception is the speed in which we've moved for a Travis tells me that's an area that they've identified as needing something extra, needing another body. It offers more of a Morsey role, more of a Luongo role.
Similar to Morsey, and get stuck in. He's got a yellow card record the same as Morsey.
Exactly.
So like for like almost for these 2 games coming up.
So the perception to me is that they've seen the development, have seen that as an area, and moved quickly to add to that. So maybe free up a Taylor to go and get more involved further forward because he can do it. And I'm a big Jack Taylor fan.
Well, you think we've got a lot of attacking players, haven't we? When you look at it, it's just that Hurst replacement. I personally think we'll sign just one striker. I'll be happy if we just sign a 9. Who it is, I don't know, but I think you've got enough in all these other positions. You've got Hutchinson, you've got Sarmiento, you've got Chaplin, Broadhead, Burns. We've got so many attacking players, and I don't see us signing 2 strikers. I think just.
But we have lost Dane, haven't we? We've lost Scarlett.
You'd be replacing him with the lad from Brighton. Really, he's the replacement for me. And Scarlett what was Scarlett then, Matt? Because we never found out, did we?
No,
that's true.
No. That's totally conundrum.
Do you feel? I don't know if you discussed it Sunday. Did you feel Hutchinson?
Should have watched then, shouldn't you?
I watched bits of it.
Well, clearly not enough of it.
Well, I was driving around bloody Suffolk.
And then he was in the WhatsApp chat Sunday night telling us we got Cameron Humphrey's age wrong.
Oh yeah, ridiculous. Come on, do your research. Amari hung on the ball for too long against Wimbledon for me. How many touches did he want?
He's one of these players. Martin has said this before about these young players. This is what you get with these.
It went to a ridiculous level. Look, I'm a big fan of Amari. I think he's been great. But I mean, look, pass the bloody ball. Don't use 20 touches.
But he's still learning. This is why we're getting these players on loan.
£5. Sorry, Rich, cut across you there. £5 from Rich Fitching's Rest Cemetery says McKenna will have us right soon. I went to watch Maidstone last night. Scouting mission. Love.
Maidstone, of course, used to be a league club. Do you remember, Rich? Like 80s, and then they went bust, didn't they? And then they resurfaced as the club that we're going to be playing. So good luck to them.
Phil Blundell, what's Mystic Cruncher's prediction for Saturday evening?
We'll come on to this in a minute. Do we think the Maidstone game will be on the TV?
No.
In the States, it will be. The States, it will be.
What
it's either going to be Sunday night. It could be Sunday night like Buxton because they chose that it's going to be on ESPN Plus. I know that for a fact. And they chose that, didn't they, in that slot? So it could be in that 5:30 slot again, or it'll be a Saturday lunchtime again. Be one or the other, I would have thought.
I think McKenna will be quite happy that it's not at Maidstone on that 3G pitch. Cause...
Oh, it would certainly been on BBC or ITV if it had been,
But I think Town wouldn't really want to play on that. I said on Sunday, Martin, you don't really want to not.
You did.
That's quite. It's good for obviously for their level, but we don't want to get any more injuries. But good cup tie. Saturday. I think we're going to win Saturday.
Okay, score.
Are you confident of goals? Are you confident of goals?
1-0.
Clean sheet. A clean sheet. I don't really want to get Stoke, but
defensively lately,
and QPR to be fair.
Defensively lately, we've looked more secure. Touch wood, and we've struggled to score goals. So
it's true.
It might be a case of look, if we take any kind of win at the minute, I think Southampton have got. I think Sheffield Wednesday, Matt. I think if they win Saturday, that's a club record. So they're
taking the piss.
Yeah, but this is what they've had to do to
they won't beat
Town in.
To get near us.
They won't beat Wednesday.
73 years it is. 73-year-old club record just to get within 3 points of us.
Listen, take it from the man that told you about Sheffield Wednesday not finishing in the top 2 last year. Southampton cannot and will not keep this run of form going. They just can't. It's impossible. It's impossible.
Wait, they couldn't beat Norwich, could they?
Why is it impossible?
They'll finish because they've already beaten club records. Like there's peak performance, and then there's sort of Herculean peak performance. they're there. Even if they might drop to peak, but they can't keep this unbelievable run of.
If they keep peak between now and the end of the season, they'll probably get top 2. If I'm being honest.
I did say that, did I? This time. Note the words. I'm less confident about these than I am Wednesday. Put it this way.
Yeah, I don't think Town will be top 2 come May.
I didn't say we wouldn't be.
I
Didn't say they wouldn't be. I'm not leading you down a garden path here.
Anything in the playoffs is a massive success this season. People need to, like Mike
Top
says,
2 or bust, says Phil Blundell.
give their heads a wobble.
All or nothing.
Yeah. I actually had a thought we'd probably be a Leeds Town final and all the nerves because they've beaten us twice convincingly this season. The one game they need to beat us, they don't show up.
Bamford's goal, everybody. Bamford's goal.
Oh yeah,
That was a hell of a finish. That.
With the FA Cup.
It's his new haircut.
So Joe Garner like finished that, isn't it?
Yes.
Joey, he scored one for Preston like that, didn't he?
Preston.
Was that in the playoffs?
Yep.
Chested it, volleyed.
Good knowledge.
Yeah.
Good knowledge.
Yeah. It's a great goal, to be fair. Okay, so you're 1-0. Matt, your score prediction, please, for Saturday evening?
Look, I hope to God we get back on to winning ways because I want us to finish top 2. We've been there for most of the season. But I think it will be very difficult without that Hurst figure. That's not to say I don't think we can't score goals. But it will need your Broadheads, Harness, Chaplin, Asamiento to step up, Wes Burns. And they're more than capable. I reckon we'll win 2-1.
2-1. Lovely. All right. Perfect. 2-1 says Lee Ballis. 1-1 says Matt Stannard. And 2-0 says Colin Plum. 1-0 says James Warren Elmer. Thank you very much for those score predictions. There was a few others when Patrick put his in. I can't quite grab them right now. Mike says, I think we'll win 2-1. And Greg says, nothing is impossible. Charlie, but we're not the start of the season anymore, Cruncher. We are where we are now and hopefully top 2. Great comments as always from everybody watching. These two as well. Thank you for Patrick from the Record Report for joining us. We are live post-match following Sunderland on Saturday evening. So do join us on the full-time whistle.
5:30. When do Town next play another league game at 3 o'clock?
Yeah.
It'll be Preston, won't it? Preston on I think the second, is it? At Deep Down?
Yes, it is. Yeah, it is. So join us then. Join us then, but also join us Saturday and in between. Yeah, obviously. I'm not just going to take the whole month of January off. That's it. Kick back now, lads. Yeah. But thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and we'll catch you all on Saturday night. Up at Town. Crazy from just the thought of you. A long blonde hair.